Good morning, children. Here we are with the next video of Geography, chapter number 3, A Changing Earth. In the previous video, we have discussed about endogenic forces in detail. In today's video, we will discuss about exogenic forces. Now, what are exogenic forces? The changes on the Earth's surface is due to two types of forces, endogenic force and exogenic force. The forces that act on or above the Earth's surface are known as exogenic forces. The main elements of exogenic forces are rivers, winds, glaciers, and sea waves. The various landforms on the Earth's surface are formed by the various endogenic forces. However, the exogenic forces tend to reduce the elevation of the existing landforms. The exogenic forces carry out their work in two ways: weathering and erosion. Weathering involves disintegration and decomposition of rocks. A number of factors and agents such as heat, cold, frost actions, plants, animals, and chemical reactions help in weathering. This process does not involve the movement of broken rock materials. Weathering is generally followed by erosion. It is a process by which the broken rock materials are removed from the place of its origin and deposited elsewhere. The main agents of erosion are running water, sea waves, moving ice, and wind. The transported material are deposited at different places. Thus, different landforms are created by the agents of erosion and deposition. Now we will discuss about the work of a river. When it rains, some water seeps underground, some of it evaporates, and the rest forms small streams. Many small streams join together to form a river. The place where the river originates is called the source. Henceforth, the river moves down the slope in a valley. Generally, the river falls into a large water body such as a sea, ocean, or lake. The place where the river joins another water body is called the mouth. The area drained by the river and its tributaries is called the river basin. The running water in the river carries out its work in three ways. It erodes the rocks over which it flows. It transports the eroded materials. It deposits the materials which it has transported. The erosional work of the river results in the widening and deepening of the river valley. Such a valley is called a V-shaped valley. In hilly areas, the river moves swiftly. Thus, there is more erosion and transportation of the sediments and practically no deposition. When the water of the river falls almost vertically down a steep valley side, a waterfall is formed. They are important because they can be used to generate hydroelectricity. The steep sloping segment of the swift flowing river is called a rapid. When the river leaves the mountain and enters the plains, the flow is no longer swift. The flow of the river valley widens due to the continuous erosion along its banks. The river twists and turns to form large bands or loops. These are called meanders. Now the river erodes, transports, and deposits the sediments. Due to continuous erosion and deposition, the meandering lobes becomes almost circular and come very close to each other. During floods, the river generally overflows its banks. The fine alluvial soil brought by the river is deposited on the valley floor. This fertile part is called floodplains. In due course of time, the river is able to cut the strip of land between the two loops and take a straight course. The circular loop that is left behind, completely cut off from the main channel, forms an oxbow lake. In the floodplains, the coarse materials are deposited along the banks of the river. Thus, long ridges of low height are formed along the banks. These are called natural levees. When the river reaches its mouth, it carries a large volume of water and alluvium. The excess load is deposited as sandbars in the wide river channel. This divides the main channel into several channels which are called distributaries. In this stage, triangular shaped land is formed between the distributaries due to deposition of sediments. This is called delta. Now let us discuss about the work of sea waves. Sea water performs erosional and depositional work through sea waves. It is also aided by currents, tides, and storms. The work of sea waves is also known as marine erosion and marine deposition. It is confined to a narrow belt along the coast. The erosional and depositional work of sea waves give rise to coastal landforms. Strong sea waves dash against the coast and dissolve or break down the rocks into fragments. Many large and small cracks develop on the rocky surface. In due course of time, these cracks become wide and form cavities. With the continuous action of sea waves, these cavities develop into sea caves. When a headland projecting into the sea is attacked by sea waves from both the sides, a thorough passage is created. This is called sea arch. When the roof of the sea arch is further eroded, it collapses. The pillars of rocks are left standing in the open water. These are called stacks. A steep vertical wall facing the sea is called a sea cliff. The depositional work of the sea waves is a slow process. Beaches are formed by the deposition of sand, gravel, and pebbles on the shore. They are generally formed when the sea is calm and winds are of low velocity. When the broken rock materials are deposited on the sea floor near the coast, sandbars are formed. Sometimes the sea water is enclosed between the coast and the sandbar. It then becomes a partially enclosed lake, which is called a lagoon. This is the image of a lagoon. Now let us discuss about the work of moving ice. The snow which falls in high altitudes and high latitudes accumulates to form snowfields. The snowfields are situated above the snow line. The river of snow and ice which moves very slowly is called a glacier. Glaciers flow out from the snowfields. Like any other agent, the work of a glacier is erosion, transportation, and deposition. A glacier can modify and sometimes totally remove the existing landforms and substitute them with new and distinctly different ones. Pure ice itself cannot do much work. When the glacier passes through a valley, rock fragments fall into moving ice from the mountain slopes. It also picks up rock pieces from the valley floor. These rocks act as tools of erosion. These rocks rub against the sides and the valley floor. This creates U-shaped valley with a flat bottom and almost vertical sides. The glacier carves out deep hollows along the slope of the mountain. It develops an armchair-like depression called cirque. When glacial ice melts, the depression is filled up with water and forms a lake. This is called a tarn. When the glacier starts melting, its capacity to carry load is reduced. Thus, rock materials are deposited on the sides and floor of the valley. These deposits form glacial moraines. Now we will discuss the work of wind. Wind is the most effective agent of erosion in deserts. In the absence of moisture, rock fragments lie loose on the surface. Moreover, the absence of vegetation in the desert also enables the wind to blow freely. A strong wind carries with it a large amount of sand, dust particles, and gravel. These loose materials act as a tool in eroding the rocks. The work of the wind is limited to a few meters above the ground. This is because the wind is unable to carry the rock particles high up in the air. Near the ground, its work slows down due to friction with the surface. Therefore, the ideal height is about 25 cm to 75 cm above the ground. The wind erodes the lower part of the rock more than the upper part. Such rocks have a narrow base and a broad part at the top. They are called mushroom rocks. The depositional work of wind starts when its speed declines or some obstructions like trees, bushes, forest, building, etc. come in its way. The fine dust particle deposited extensively is known as loess. It is porous and rivers cut deep valleys through it. The most extensive loess deposits are in North China. The quartz particles are deposited in the form of hillocks known as sand dunes. So children, this is the end of your chapter. Question answers will be shared soon on your class WhatsApp group. Thank you.